All right, how is everyone doing? I'm about to make some scones. This is my first time ever making scones, and honestly, I'm not even going to really be using a recipe like that. I'm just gonna be freestyling. I made some Irish soda bread muffins the other day, which I really have fallen in love with, and so I'm gonna make some more Irish soda bread but turn it into scones. Okay. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is just make sure that I'm actually live. So let's do that. How do I don't know. Anywho, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go. Let's just roll with it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is preheat the oven to 425. And I'm making it so hot because I wanted to kind of get a nice crust over it. And then I'm gonna lower the temperature down after about 10 minutes to 350 degrees so that it kind of just cooks through slowly. But in the beginning, all that heat is like making a nice crust. And I need this tool. Let me see if it's, yep, got it. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is get about 2 cups of flour. Y'all are gonna see this is very not measuring. This is not a measuring recipe. Usually with flour, you want to be very specific with certain baked goods, but since I'm just really kind of freestyling right now, I don't mind not being super precise and measuring grams and spooning into the cup and stuff like that. So let's do that. I also wanted to, and I'm going to discuss my most recent blog post, which is about neutralizing negative emotions, which is very powerful. I had to look up if anybody else ever talked about neutralizing negative emotions, and it actually is kind of a thing in the spiritual space. What are you making? Hey, I am making some Irish soda bread scones. And I'm just kind of freestyling. But yeah, so 2 cups-ish of flour. This is really not measuring like that. But I know I want about 2 cups. And I'm using spelt flour because spelt flour is just the bomb. Hi. Yeah, give it a Google. You see what happens in the kitchen? Lots of fun. All right. But Irish soda bread is basically a bread from when Irish immigrants were moving, and they kind of just made bread with minimal ingredients for sustenance, and it became a whole thing. I'm not Irish or anything that I know of, but I did go to a boarding school, and at my boarding school they would make Irish soda bread like loaves and cut it and give it to us, and it was just so delicious. And I missed that, so I just want to make some scones. So here's our flour. And the next thing I'm gonna do, because I know people do this with scones, mind you, remember this is my first time making scones, so we're just gonna, like I said, freestyle. I know people put butter in it and then they kind of do something with the butter, like press it into the flour, and this makes the dough very flaky and buttery. It's not gonna be like a croissant or anything, but it's still gonna allow some kind of textural difference when it bakes because the butter will melt, leaving some kind of like different textures in there. So let me get the butter. All right, so I got the butter here. I cut up a random amount of butter. I would say this is like 2 tablespoons of butter. Yeah. I'm so glad that I'm helping educate you, my guide. All right. So I just poured the butter in, and now we're going to mash it into the dough. And the butter is frozen, so that's important because we don't want it to melt into the dough. We still want it to melt while it's in the oven. And I did preheat to 425. So let's talk about neutralizing negative emotions a little bit, because negative emotions are very annoying and very necessary because they are telling our bodies that something is wrong. Like, we're feeling something wrong and therefore we need to fix something. So when I think about neutralizing any negative emotions that I have, it's because I don't want to spend too much time in that negative state, and I don't want to be overcome by that emotion. So in a way, it's like neutralizing the enemy. So think about it like that, neutralizing the enemy, because honestly, that's one way the enemy attacks, is with your mind. But if you can guide yourself through that emotion and come out on the other side victorious, you have neutralized the enemy. So if you are interested in reading the blog post, I will have that linked in the description once I am done with all of this. But you can also check it out on thelifeofhoney.com, and it is going to be under blogs, and I have 2 blogs, one for recipes and one for inner work. So the inner work blog is called Golden Gateway, so it's going to be right there for you. But the first negative emotion is going to be anger. Okay, so anger is one of those emotions that many people feel often, and it can be the food that you are eating. But it also tells us that there's something inside of us that we need to work on. So one way to neutralize anger is by forgiveness. That's the main way. And when you want to forgive someone, there's a few ways you can go about this. The way that I wrote in the blog is by thinking about basically what that person might be going through. So if there's someone who has angered you, they might be going through something that you don't know. And so you want to just offer them forgiveness, period, because you don't know, right? They could be going through some type of loss, and therefore they could be acting out, right? Something could be going wrong in their life. And so basically they need some love. So pass that on. And another way to offer forgiveness is to think about whether you have done something similar to the person who has angered you, right? So say someone angered you by stepping on the back of your shoe. If you like sneakers and stuff, there was a point in time where sneakers were my life, okay? And if someone stepped on my shoe or did anything to any of my shoes, I felt rage. There was rage. I was very angry with this person who stepped on my shoes. But one way to forgive them in this example is to say, has there been a time when I stepped on the back of somebody's shoe and it was just me being clumsy or not really paying attention? Yeah. Actually, I have done that multiple times. And so if I've done that multiple times, it kind of makes me calm down, because I'm like, you know what? I can forgive this person because they didn't do it on purpose. They basically just, they did it by accident. Unless they did it on purpose, which is something so weird. But yeah. And another way to offer forgiveness is in being mad at someone, right? If you're angry with someone, turn that anger into an act of kindness. This is powerful because it takes a lot of strength. When someone angers you, all right, that's enough of this butter crushing. But if someone angers you and you have the strength to do an act of kindness, think about how powerful this, how strong you are for doing that, because a lot of people won't be able to do that. But that immediately neutralizes anger. When you're able to do something for someone and you're mad at them without putting that anger into whatever you're doing, you know, just doing it because you love that person, it'll immediately neutralize the anger. So if you're mad at someone and you really don't feel like doing something for them, like you just want to be mad at them, force yourself to do something kind for that person, because that will just neutralize it. All right, so that's it for anger for right now. Now we have kind of this butter crushed into our flour. The next thing that we are going to add is a little bit of salt. Now I have this salt here. This is actually some Celtic sea salt, but it's in this jar. So that's way too much. Don't put that much. I'm gonna add basically a pinch, like this much salt into there. And I'm also going to add some baking soda, because this is Irish soda bread, right? So I'm gonna add some baking soda. Now, when working with baking soda, it's important to go quickly once you add the liquid, because the reaction happens fast. So I'm gonna do about 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. All right, so the next negative emotion that you want to neutralize is, give me one second. Is jealousy. Jealousy. Now, in this day and age, with everybody basically flexing online, like people flex as their job. That's the oven being preheated. People flex as their job. And if you are someone who is not happy with your life, or you're consistently viewing other people achieve things and have things that you don't have, it can be very easy to be overcome with jealousy, with envy, right? And that is a nasty feeling. Jealousy is nasty, and I've definitely felt jealous of other people. And there's jealousy and there's admiration, right? So admiration is you see somebody doing things and you aspire to be like them. You admire what they're doing, right? And then there's jealousy, where it's like you see they have these planes go by all the time. They're jets, so it's loud. But jealousy is like you see someone doing something and you want their life. You want it so bad. It's just a nasty feeling, right? And if you want to neutralize jealousy, all you have to do is get in touch with your own desires. This will neutralize the jealousy. So what you're gonna do is look at the person who you're jealous of, right? You're jealous of somebody. Ask yourself why. Like, what is it causing this feeling? And it's because you have a desire that you have not met, that you need to do something to achieve. And once you get in touch with what that desire actually is, you can make a plan to go after it. When you make that plan, boom, the jealousy is gone, because you put the purpose in your hands. You put your desire into your hands, basically, by saying, okay, if this person has this and I'm jealous because I want it, all I have to do is go get it, and then I won't have to be jealous of this person anymore. Okay, I hope you're following. I hope that logic makes sense. This will neutralize your jealousy. Now here I have some raisins that I have soaked in champagne. Okay, so I've soaked these have been soaking for a few days. And I got inspo from this guy on NYT Cooking. I think his name is Vaughn, and he made a carrot cake where he soaked raisins in rum. And I tried to use some cognac, but I couldn't use that, so I went with some champagne. So hopefully the champagne raisins elevate this dish. All right, they elevate. Now, I don't know how much of this is here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and spoon it in. So again, with the jealousy, just think about what you desire, because that's what jealousy is. It's desire, but you're not being strong enough to go after what your desire is. So you're mad at yourself basically because you think that you're not strong enough to ever receive that thing. Because if you knew that you could receive that thing, which you can, the jealousy would dissipate. It would neutralize. You would neutralize that enemy, that negative thought. All right. So that is how you're going to neutralize the negative emotion of jealousy. Now let's move on to the next one, which is lust. I'm doing a lot of raisins simply because I like the sweetness of the raisin in my Irish soda bread. This might be a little too many raisins. I'm gonna show y'all how much is it here. It might be a little too many, but I don't care because I want it. I want all the raisins. I want all the champagne that is soaked into the raisins. All right, so lust. Now, lust is something that unfortunately has been programmed into many people due to the shows that we have watched growing up and music, all these things. And it's a very negative emotion when it comes upon you because it's like a spiritual attack. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract, just a smidgen. All right. And I'm going to also add in a little bit of agave. That's it. Because I don't want this to be too sweet. Now, if you don't know what lust is basically when you have sexual desire, like strong sexual desire, and it's inappropriate because you might be imagining things or you might be tempted to do things that go against your values or go against what is actually the right thing to do. And this can cause people to basically give up their sexual energy, which is your energy that you can use to create something, because all lust is basically a strong desire in your body to go make something. So to neutralize lust, you are going to pour into yourself. Focus on self-care. Either pour into your business or create something or take care of your body. Maybe take a bath or do something very nice for yourself. All right, right here, I have some buttermilk. It's basically coconut milk that I tried to make yogurt with, but it just didn't work out. So now it's very acidic. So I'm gonna go in with 1/3 of a cup of this. I'm gonna go with 2/3 of a cup and see what happens. All right. So move that lustful energy into something that's actually going to help you. Like, why would you waste all that energy that God gave you by like putting it somewhere that's only lowering your vibration? It's only keeping you in a cycle of self-hate, of lack of will, of disgust, of basically being spiritually attacked, opening yourself up to like demonic attack. Basically, you're gonna be so low when you let lust into your life. You're losing control over yourself. Any man and any woman needs control over themselves. So focus on yourself instead of those lustful actions. Okay? And you might actually be able to make it somewhere like that. Doing that continually, focusing on self-care continually instead of lust, is going to allow you to build something. When you choose and decide to move that energy over from lust to self-care and just self-evolution time and time again, one day you're gonna look up and it's gonna be like, wow, You know, save, you know, that's what lust can be turned into. Self-care, self-love, self-evolution. Now, I'm mixing this together, and it's very, very, right now, it's very, what's the word? I can smell the champagne, but it's not doughy, or no, it's moist. It's not dry. It's not dry, so I don't want to get in here with my hands because, or just yet, maybe I'll add more flour, or maybe I'll just start forming them because who cares. Now, let's move on to the next one, which is neutralizing anxiety. Everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people go through anxiety, and that's a tough feeling, right? Because your mind is racing. You don't know what to do. Anxiety is just a negative emotion to have. It feels like you're stuck. Like, what do I do? Too many things happening. Like, I don't know who I am. I don't know the answers. You're just overly anxious. And the thing that you need to do to neutralize anxiety is make a decision. It's that simple. All right, there's so many forms of anxiety, but the way that you're going to move through that emotion is by making a decision, right? So say you're anxious. I think I use this example in the blog, right? So you're anxious because you're running late to work. You don't know what's going to happen. So you make a decision. All right, I'm going to be late to work. When I get there, I'm going to go and apologize. Okay, then it's like, oh my gosh, what if they fire me? If they fire me, then I'm simply going to get a new job, apply to new jobs, or focus on my business, right? So neutralize anxiety with a decision. Work your way down to the nitty gritty of what you're actually afraid of, right? So even going on from there, it's like, what if I don't find a job for months? Then I will ask my family for help. What if nobody in my family helps me? Then I will apply for governmental programs. What if I don't get to any of the governmental programs? I will use a skill that I have and go pitch myself places. Like, there's so many things that you can decide to do, but you need to work your way down to what is the actual fear that is stopping me? Like, what is causing my anxiety? Okay? So make a decision. Whatever decision is going to eliminate that. So say you need to pay for a subscription that you really need for your business, but maybe you don't have the funds right now. You can decide, okay, maybe I'll go with a different platform that gives me a lower price, or maybe I will make an offer so that I can get more money to pay for this subscription that I use for my business. You can make a decision to move yourself through the anxious feelings that you're having. So far we've gone over anger, we've gone over jealousy, we've gone over lust, and we've gone over anxiety. The last thing that we are going to do, and what I'm going to do for y'all, because I'm likely going to get off this live before I finish this, so I will just show y'all a picture, which you can see in the community tab what these came out to be, because they're basically done. And well, no, they're not done. They need to go in the oven, and I need to shape them. Let me show y'all what we're working with. I'm gonna see how many. I think I can get 4 good ones out of this, and I'm going to use the leftover champagne from the raisins. And no, it's not nasty. When you're a chef, you use everything, okay? This champagne is good. It has soaked raisin juice. Let me get there's 1 raisin in here. And I'm gonna mix it with some sugar and attempt to make like a champagne glaze for this. Ooh, I'm gonna show you how it works. So basically, as I finish up this, I'm just gonna tell y'all what I'm gonna do after. So I'm gonna shape these into scones. Then I'm going to get more of this buttermilk, and I'm gonna take this brush and I'm going to brush over the top of the scones, basically like a plant-based egg wash, to really get a nice golden color on the top, and just more flavor on the top. Like, it's gonna cook differently with this brush on top. Then I'm going to place them in the oven. They're on 425 for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I'm going to lower the temperature to 350 degrees. I'm speaking Fahrenheit. And once I lower the temperature, I'm gonna let it cook for 10 more minutes, or just keep my eye on it to see what they're actually looking like. Are they looking done? Are they looking done? Then I will take them out. If they're looking done, let them cool down a little bit, drizzle on that glaze, take a picture for y'all, post it in the community, and those are gonna be our Irish soda bread scones. And I hope in making this, I'm showing you that you can make good, healthy food without taking it too seriously. It's not that deep. Have fun. Have fun. Pull from your experiences. Like, I'm pulling from my teenage years, the things that I used to love, and making it my own, experimenting. These might be some good scones. I'm a little afraid that the butter is melting that I put, but who cares, right? Because I could always slice the scone and add some more butter in there, which I'm probably going to do, add some more butter and jam. Anyway, let's go over the last negative emotion. And while I do that, why not, I'm gonna just shape these into scones real quick. So give me 1 second. Okay, I just got some gloves because I don't want to get my hands dirty, or dirtier, because they're already kind of dirty. Alright, so stress is the last negative emotion that we are going to neutralize today. And let me tell you something. If you stress is the #1 cause of illness. If you're stressed, it's going to leak into some part of your body, which is going to end up being ill, and then you're going to have illness. So neutralizing stress is so very important. And one of my favorite ways to neutralize stress is with stretching. And I'm talking about a deep stretch where you are in pain. Yep. A stretch where you're in pain, but that pain is the stress leaving your body. If you feel pain, you need to go deeper into where you're feeling that pain. Now, don't hurt yourself, but hold the stretch a little bit longer until you absolutely cannot. And then slowly ease yourself out of the stretch, and you will feel a release in your body. If you stretch deeply for 20, 30 minutes, you are going to have such a huge release. You're going to have a new lease on life. Your life is going to feel so different from this. And stretching is something that I've carried with me for several years, and it's always been able to bring me to a place mentally where I can actually, survive, get things done, and release emotions, calm down when I'm faced with any other negative emotion. If I am reducing stress, neutralizing stress with stretching, I can handle all my other emotions better. Now, for some people, you will be able to neutralize stress in other ways, right? So there are multiple ways to neutralize stress. Another way is through meditation. I like meditation too. Now, stretching is kind of like a meditation for me. I do prefer stretching over meditation because I like being flexible. I like having that aspect, and I like knowing that I'm able to move the mental clutter out of my mind through my body. So I'm shaping this scone. I'm gonna shape it into a little scone. I'm gonna kind of flatten it because basically it's gonna rise in the oven, right? So scones are kind of shaped like this. So this is what we're gonna go with for a scone, and I want it to be pointy, so I like a crisp bite, you know what I'm saying? All right, so that's one. So yeah, neutralize stress with stretching, and you can neutralize anxiety with stretching also. Now, the way that this concept came to me of neutralizing your emotions, neutralizing the enemy's attacks on your mind, right? Through certain modes such as forgiveness, self-care, focusing on your desires, stretching, and making a decision, is because there was a time, one time I was out with my mom, and this lady, she knocked on the door. She knocked on our car door. Hey, can you give me my car a jump? And my mom was just looking at her. My mom is not that, like, my mom is from New York, and if you're from New York, you're very cautious. You're very cautious about how certain people are. And she was right about this woman, because the reaction that this woman had after was ridiculous. And I pray that that woman's doing okay now. But she was so mad that we kind of were just like, no, like, we're about to leave. You know, we're good. And she was so upset. She really pissed me off, and I wanted to fight. I was ready to fight this woman. And I'm not even a fighter. I don't fight ever. Like, but I was ready. Like, if it really came down to it that day, I was ready to fight this woman, because she was just acting crazy. So she was yelling at us like, "Are you serious?" She was like, "I hope you never need help from anyone else." And then I saw her in the mirror, the side mirror. She was taking a picture of the license plate. So I got out the car. I'm like, "Did you just take a picture of our license plate? What are you doing?" And she was like, "Yes." And I'm calling the cops. So I was like, is this a Karen? Is this what people record? Like, I was just in total shock. Now, mind you, I'm from the north. The south is a different place, and I've never experienced just weirdness like that, and I don't plan on it again. I think that there was something going on with all of our energy to even attract that situation. It was just crazy. But on the way home, I kept thinking about it, and I was so mad. And then I thought, what if that lady is homeless and she has nowhere to go, and it's a little chilly? She needs her car to get somewhere. She needs that jump to turn on the electricity. I don't know. But I just thought, like, this lady could be going through something, and I'm over here thinking about hurting her. So that immediately made me forgive her. I was like, I forgive her. I don't know what she's going through. And the anger just neutralized. It went away. It went away completely. I mean, I felt my body just change. After that, I was like, what is this? You can really get rid of anger this quickly? It's like, wow, I wonder if I can do this with other emotions that I feel. So I did it with other emotions. And so I had to write a blog about it. Of course, I had to share my findings. I'm gonna make this one a circle just cause, why not? Like a little biscuit. But yeah, I had to share my findings. So go ahead and check that out, and let me know if you have experienced neutralizing your emotions in different ways that I have not mentioned, because I would love new ways and tactics to move myself through negative emotions successfully, intelligently, and without pressing them down. I want to just bring them out and through. Like, I don't want to just press down. I want to actually move through into something different that is healthier for me. So here are a few ways that I do that. Anytime these emotions come up, if I have more findings, I will definitely let y'all know. Stay tuned for the picture of these scones, and I hope you enjoyed. All right, so stay golden, stay beautiful. We're done here. Let me show you what we got. Okay, so I'm about to put these in the oven because the butter it's not melted. As you can see, there's still some butter in there, but I don't want it to melt. So see y'all next time.